got a stash. You got a stash provider.
Huh?
Stash provider, stash reward.
I'm not giving it to him today because he did not do the Isha Salah. You have to do the Isha Salah.
He
needs to earn it.
At ICBC, you get paid in candy.
Basically.
Assalamu alaikum. So inshallah, our younger brothers come forward. Everybody, please, let's get situated. And I'd like to request all the brothers from that side to please come on this side. All the brothers who are praying Sunnah, please finish quickly. Don't recite Surah Al-Baqarah. Sisters, you can come down and join us down here on the wall. And the room in the back, inshallah, sisters can come down and join us. And any moms with little kids, please use that room, inshallah. Okay, now, you guys, the rule is that you have to be one handspan apart from everyone. Okay? No, all the way open up. If your hands are touching anybody, you have to move. You guys, spread out, spread out. Come on here, spread out. Come on. Okay, that's the only way we'll stop. You start. Sure. Don't raise his hand until he says, okay, if you have any questions, you can ask. Okay? Up until then. This is for people with good behavior. If he asks a question, you answer it, you will get a candy. And if you guys don't answer it right, I will get a candy.
No, you won't. We are. No, it's like with the time and money.
Alrighty, folks. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. والعاقبة للمتقين ولا عدوان إلا على الظالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وإمام المرسلين نبينا وحبيبنا وقدوتنا محمد عليه أفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله تعالى في كتابه الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وما آتاكم الرسول فخذوه وما نهاكم عنه فانتهوا واتقوا الله إن الله شديد العقاب. صدق الله العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I'm used to a younger audience. I teach college kids. I know for y'all those are older people. But they have a particular type of energy that I think is unmatched. But you want to know what I think? Your energy tonight cannot just match them, it'll beat them. What do you think, Ammar? You think they'll beat the energy at UT? Inshallah? Let's show them. Let's show them. I want the walls to shake. I want Imam Jawad to fall back on his seat. Right? So one more time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Whoa. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Did you fall back in your seat, Imam Sahib? Yeah. A little bit more, you would have been, yeah. One more time? Let's see if we can really knock him down. All right? Third time's the charm. I want the people in the back as well. Ammar, you're gonna, okay. Third time now. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Oh, mashallah. MashaAllah. We accomplished our goal. MashaAllah. Takbir. Takbir. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Excellent. Excellent. Y'all heard about this one sheikh? Everyone, he was so learned and he was so popular. There was this one individual who said, I want to bring the sheikh and I want him, the whole community, to benefit from his knowledge. Just like your imam invited me here today. Now, most of y'all don't know me, but the imam trusted me that I would give you something beneficial to think about and to learn about. So similarly, there was a community who invited a big sheikh. He said, y'all have to listen to him. He's funny, he's intelligent, he's relatable, right? So the sheikh comes, the whole community gathers. And he goes, I have one question for you. How many questions? One question. You all know what that is? He asked them the question, what is my topic for today? What is my topic for today? Now, none of them knew the topic, so they all said, well, we don't know. So what did the sheikh say? He goes, well, if you all don't even know my topic, then why do I waste my time being with you guys? So he left. He left. Now the whole community is sad. They're like, where did the sheikh go? We didn't know the topic. Next time we'll invite him, we'll read up, we'll find out the topic, and we'll make him happy. Then he'll stay. So what happened? The following week, they called the sheikh back. Now, what was the question that he asked? Can you remind me? Yeah. What is the topic for today? So the community said, we're going to be clever. The last time he came and asked that question, what was our answer? We don't know. So now this time, what are we going to do? What is going to be our answer to make him stay? Are we going to answer no or yes? Yes. So he asked the question, do y'all know my topic for today? Yes. And what do you think they said? Yes. What do you think they said? Yes. What do you think they said? Yes. Yes. He said, well, if you already know the topic, then there's no need for me to be here. So he left again. Yeah, he left again. Is that fair? No. Oh, so then they got clever. They said, the sheikh came and said, do you know my topic? Everyone said, no. So he left. Then he came back again and said, do you know my topic? What did they say? Yes. Yes. Then what did he do? He left. So he said, now what do we do? Then they got really smart. They got clever. Now this first piece of candy is for whoever can figure out what did they say the third time. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. That would be a great answer, by the way. You'll get one. That's not what they said. Can you catch? Yeah, let's see. MashaAllah. Excellent. Yes, sir. Can you teach us? That would be a good one too. I'll give you one. All right, third try. Yes, sister. Oh, that's a wonderful answer. If I throw it, can you catch? Try? Okay, let's see. Oh, my fault. That was a bad throw. Okay, so here's what actually happened. Don't worry, you'll get a chance later. Here's what actually happened. The first time the sheikh came, he said, do you know my topic? Everyone said, no. He said, if you didn't bother learning what I have to say, even reading up on it, being a little bit prepared, then I'm not going to waste my time. He left. The second time he came, they said, we already know the topic. He said, if you already know it, then there's no point in me being here. So he left. The third time, they said, you know what happened? Let's try and see what happens if half of us say yes and the other half says no. So he comes back and he asks the question, do y'all know my topic? So this half of the room, what are y'all gonna say? Yes. You guys? No. What are y'all gonna say? Yes. Y'all? No. Let's see who can say it louder. All right, y'all, now. Yeah! That was pretty good. That was pretty good. But you guys? Who do you think won? Imam Jawad, who won? The yeses or the nos? Definitely the yeses.
Let's go.
There was no competition. There was no competition. You guys are sleeping. All right, one more chance. One more chance. The count of three, y'all are gonna say yes. All right? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah!
Oh, that was, jeez. All right, yeah, you helped them out. Okay. Y'all have a helper now. So the count of three, this side of the room is gonna say what?
No!
All right, very good. 1, 2, 3. All right, so one side of the room said yes, the other side of the room said no. What do y'all think the Shaykh said? He said, well, if y'all know and y'all don't know, this side of the room can teach the other side of the room. And there's no need for me to be here. All right? So now, just like the Shaykh asked the question, what do y'all think I'm going to talk about today? Does anyone know? Let me see. Yeah, you and the Adidas. You've had your hand up. Oh, okay. What was the question? What is my topic today? That's the question. Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. Yeah. About the Mahdi. What do you know about Mahdi? What do you know already about him? One of the signs of the Day of Judgment? Yes, sir.
It's that he'll come
At the end of time? Okay, yes, sir. The leader of the Muslim Ummah, yes. He is Dajjal? Oh, who is Dajjal? So you're answering my question with a question. So your answer is, you're asking me a question. Okay, we'll get to Dajjal, yes. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Good, great summary of it. So today, we have a super interesting, unconventional, rarely talked about topic. And there's different ways we can talk about it. I want to make this session as interactive and as practical as we can make it. But before we get to that portion of it, there's some sort of, I don't want to call it boring, but there's some sort of basic information that y'all need to know before we can have a conversation. Does that sound fair? Right? So before we can actually have an actual conversation about Imam Mahdi, we have to talk about, well, what is Imam Mahdi? Who is Imam Mahdi? Right? That's number one. So we know every word in the classical Arabic language has a root. Now, if you don't know what that means, that's okay. I'm going to explain it to you. So every single word, you can trace it to a root of letters. And knowing what those letters mean tells you about the word you're talking about. So for example, this building is called what? A masjid, right? It's called a masjid or a mosque. So the Arabic word masjid is a place where you make sajda. Can anyone show me what a sajda looks like? Okay, is this what a sajda is? No? Okay, am I closer? Is this what a sajda is? It's closer. What's a sajda? Yeah, it's this thing, right? So a masjid is a place where people come and make sajda to Allah. It's a place that is dedicated for people to pray. And part of praying is you bow your head to the ground. That is called sajda. Right? So knowing the root tells you a little bit about the word. So there is a figure, a person that's going to come towards the end of times, towards the Day of Judgment, whose name is, or whose title is going to be Imam Mahdi. The word Mahdi, the 3 root letters, and I'm going to ask you all this at the end of the session. The 3 root letters of Mahdi are Ha, Dal, and Ya. Ha, Dal, and what? Ya. Ha, Dal, and what? Ya. Okay. Ha, Dal, and Ya mean guidance. That's what that means. So someone who is a Mahdi means someone who Allah has guided. Someone who Allah has guided. Now y'all tell me, is that a good thing or a bad thing? If Allah has guided you, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Okay, when we pray salah and we stand up, what surah? Yeah. When we stand up for prayers, what surah do we have to recite? Fatiha. And in the middle of that surah, we ask Allah for what? Do you know? We say, Ihdina siratal mustaqim. Oh Allah, guide us to the straight path. So asking for guidance is a part of every single day for Muslims, right? So someone who is guided, someone who asked Allah for guidance and got it, that's a good thing. That means that person's prayers was answered. Correct? Correct? Okay, very good. So, now the question is Imam Mahdi an actual physical person that's going to come at the end of times? Or is it a general idea that the Prophet ﷺ talked about? Now, this subject of the Imam Mahdi has piqued the curiosity and intrigue of many people around the world. In fact, if you were to go on YouTube right now and just type in Imam Mahdi, you'll find some really wild and crazy things. You'll find people who are claiming to be Imam Mahdi, right? And I think one of the most random claimants of someone who claimed to be Imam Mahdi was someone from Ohio. He was like, I'm Imam Mahdi. And it's like, really, guy, you're living in Ohio, right? By far, the funniest, the most hilarious claim that someone made to be Imam Mahdi was some random guy in India in the middle of an Islamic conference. He gets up and he's like, I am Imam Mahdi. And it's like, dude, you said Mahdi. You didn't even say it right, right? So this has been the subject of curiosity from people old and young, right? So let's talk about some facts. Fact number one. The Prophet, and when I mention the Prophet's name, you all say, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He said in a famous hadith, Alaykum bisunnati. Y'all with me, right? He said, Alaykum bisunnati. That y'all should follow my sunnah. Then he added to that, was sunnatul khulafa al-rashidin al-mahdiyyin min ba'di. And you should also follow the footsteps of leaders who you'll have that are going to be rightly guided. From this hadith, what do we learn? We learn that there are going to be leaders in the Muslim community who are going to be Mahdi in the general sense of the word, in that they're going to be divinely guided by God. They're going to ask Allah for guidance, and that's what they're going to get. They're going to be guided, and the Muslim community should follow them because they're going to be good people, right? But in terms of him actually being a specific person, there are at least 18 companions who narrate something about an imam or a leader that will come towards the end of time. How many companions? 18 different companions. Now, let me give you an example of some of their names. Number 1, Uthman radiallahu anhu. Number 2, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Number 3, Aisha radiallahu anha. And number 4, Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radiallahu anhu. Now, you may not know everything there is to know about all these names, and there's 18 of them at least. I only gave you like 4 or 5, but the short list shows you what? Now, Uthman radiallahu anhu. Let me ask you all a question. Was he a male or a female? He was a male, right? What about Aisha radiallahu anha? Yeah, she was a female, the wife of the Prophet, a daughter of who? Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. So we've got male Sahaba narrating this. We have female Sahaba also narrating this. Uthman radiallahu anhu. Where was he born? Anyone know? In a city. MashaAllah. Very good. You've got some amazing youth here. Yeah, in the world. He was born in the city of Mecca. What about Abu Ayyub al-Ansari? Where was he born? What city? Medina. So you've got Meccans and Medinans, meaning those who traveled from Mecca to Medina, what are they called? Muhajirun. Those who helped them out when they got there, who are already living in Medina, what are they called? Al-Ansar. So you've got male companions, female companions, Ansari companions, Muhajir companions. You've got old companions and young companions, all narrating something about this figure that's going to come and unite all the Muslims together. Right? That's number 1. That this is something widely reported. Widely reported. That's the first fact. Fact number 2. These narrations come in some of the major books of hadith. Jami al-Tirmidhi, Sunan of Imam Abu Dawud, Ibn Majah, and there are other narrations that come in Sahih al-Bukhari as well as Sahih Muslim. Now those Sahih collections talk about an Imam, but they don't name him as being called Mahdi. But they do talk about an Imam, a leader that will emerge at the end of times, that will unite the Muslims together. And so, and last but not least, when you look at all of these narrations and you put them in one pile, you notice that some of them are authentic. It's called Sahih. Some of them are sound, which means acceptable, called Hasan. Some of them are Daif, which means weak. And some of them are Mawdu'. They're made up. They're not even real. So you've got a whole bunch of different types of narrations, different hadith, all telling you all different things about Imam Mahdi. Now here, there's lots of things we can say. When you combine all of the different hadith together, you get 8 different chains of narration, all talking about Imam Mahdi. If we talked about every single one of them, we would be here all night. But I'm not here to bore you guys. I'm here to talk about practical lessons from this topic. So of those, I'm only going to talk like 3 or 4 hadith. Just like 3 or 4 things we can learn about Imam Mahdi. And then we're going to get to my favorite part of tonight's presentation, which is what can we learn about Imam Mahdi that's practical to your lives? How do we make it practical for everyday life? All right? So, hadith number 1. Out of all the hadith, I'm going to share with you like 4. All right? Now, number 1. Before getting to the first hadith, there's a famous Tunisian scholar by the name of Ibn Ashur. He died in the 1970s. Those of you who are super young may not appreciate what a giant he was. He was an expert in tafsir. He was an expert in a number of different areas. He has a wonderful 19-page article, and he gathers all of the different hadith about Imam Mahdi. And at the end of it, he says something really interesting. And that is the point of today's talk. The point of today's talk is, how do we make those hadith practical? So he says, and don't worry, I'll translate it as I'm speaking. He writes لقد كثرت الآثار المروية في المهدي. He said that there's many different narrations, lots of ahadith that we have about this figure known as Al-Mahdi. المتضمنة أنه يجيء في آخر الزمان. And all of them include the fact that he will come towards the end of time. فيملأ الأرض عدلا بعد أن ملئت جورا. And he will fill the earth with justice. Whereas previously, the earth was filled with injustice. So he says this. And then he says that there are two things to note. There are the awsaf of Imam Mahdi, which is like his physical description, how he looked like, his description. Then there are his sifat. Sifat are characteristics, attributes, right? So for example, if I were to describe your description, I would say, you have curly hair. You have curly hair. Is that right? You have, mashallah, very beautiful hair. Right? Imam Jawad used to have hair. And when he did, it was probably really beautiful too. Right? Just like I used to have black hair, and now there's a few strands of white. And my son is only like 3 months old. When he's 1 year old, all of it's going to be gone. Right? So, 2, that's the age. So, kind of like how y'all look at old pictures of your parents from back in the day. It's like, that was you? Like, Baba, you had hair? When? Right? It's like that. So we said that there are awsaf, there are descriptions, but then there are characteristics. And he said, beyond the descriptions, what you should focus on are his characteristics. Because those are the things that you and I can emulate and be like. Right? Because there are going to be narrations talking about what family he comes from, what his name is going to be, right? Those things you can't change about yourself. Can't change your family, can't change your lineage. But if you hear a hadith about how merciful he was, could you start to be merciful? To emulate a pious leader like him? Yeah. When you hear a hadith about how just he was, could you start to become more fair and just in your life? Right? What's one way you can be fair in your life? Yes, sir. Including other people? Like how? How would you include somebody else? Yeah, very good. Very, very good. Yes, sir. Yeah, you and the Adidas. Same thing as him? Okay, very good. Yeah. If someone's getting hurt, you should stand up for them. Very good. Good. Being honest is part of being just. One more. Yes. Being fair. Yeah. Playing by the rules. Okay. So I'm going to share with y'all 4 facts about Imam Mahdi. Number 1. The first hadith. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This hadith is Hasan Sahih. It's acceptable. The Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, he says, لو لم يبقى من الدنيا إلا يوم. That if nothing was left in this world except for one day, one day is left, everything's going to come to an end. He said, even if there's one day left in the world, لطور الله ذلك اليوم. Allah would cause that day to be extended. حتى يبعث الله فيه رجلا. So Allah could send a man من أهل بيتي, from my family, يواطئ اسمه اسمي, and his name will be like my name. واسم أبيه اسم أبي, and his father's name will be my father's name. So right away, we're learning some things about the Imam Mahdi. Number 1, he's going to come towards the end of times. Number 2, his name would be Muhammad, because the Prophet said, his name will be like my name. But then he said, his father's name will be like my father's name. So this is a question For the second tier, the older folks, not y'all older folks, y'all are too old, but the middle ones here, right? What was the name of the father of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Y'all, many of y'all have answered. Yes, you in the back. Yeah. Abdullah, very good. Very, very good. Now, of course, not all of us are named Abdullah or Muhammad, right? Not all of us have a father named Abdullah or named Muhammad. But one thing that we learn from this hadith right away is that names have an effect on people. Names can have an effect on people. The Prophet ﷺ said, when you have a child, name him a good name. Now, raise your hand if you're named after a prophet of Allah. Yeah, what's your name? What's your name? Yeah. Muhammad, what's your name? Ishaq? Isa, what's your name? Zakaria, what's your name? Idris, what's your name? Yahya? Is that right? Yeah? Okay, mashallah. Yeah. Salih. Mashallah, all the prophets. Yeah. That's a great name. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yahya, mashallah. Yes, sir. What? With a hand. Yeah. Ahmed, okay. Very, very good. All right. Raise your hand if you're named after a Sahabi, companion of the Prophet ﷺ. What's your name? Ammar. Very good. Yes. Zayd. What's your name? Mu'adh. Very good. Any female companions? No, there are no Aishas, no Fatimas, no Khadijas, nothing? Very creative girl names here. MashaAllah. Right? So we have a tradition in Islam that we name our children with good names. Now, I want y'all to take a moment. Y'all ready? You guys good? You guys who are talking? Y'all ready? Take a moment. We're going to take 10 seconds. How many? 10 seconds. I want you to close your eyes. But promise me you won't fall asleep. Close your eyes and think about your name. Think about your name. What does it mean? Think about the moment your parents named you. They had so much love. Or your grandparents or whoever chose your name. They chose it not randomly. There was some thought. And when they named you, they had hopes and dreams that this person is one day gonna live up to his name. We're gonna name him Umar. And one day, maybe one day, he'll be like Umar. We're gonna name this guy Abu Bakr. And one day, maybe he'll be like Abu Bakr. All right, keep your eyes closed. Think about your name. Think about what it means. What are you doing to live up to that meaning? Mustafa, what does your name mean? The chosen one. It's one of the nicknames of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, right? What would it look like if you lived up to your name? What does it mean to be chosen? Try to be a role model. MashaAllah, yeah. Ammar, what do you think? In what way could you live up to the person you're named after? Ammar, the companion. Hold on to it, even in dire circumstances. Yes, ma'am. Okay, very beautiful. Very good. MashaAllah, excellent. Anyone else? We'll take one more. Yes, sir. What's your name? Malik? Yeah. How could you live up to your name? Abu Malik is a beautiful name, right? So, number one, everyone here has a potential. Everyone here has a potential. So really think about, what are you doing to live up to your potential? What are you doing to live up to the name that your parents have named you? How can you truly be a Mustafa? How can you truly be Malik? How can you truly be Yahya, Ammar, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, etc.? Number two, the Prophet ﷺ said, second hadith, very quickly. The Prophet said, لَوْ لَمْ يَبْقَى مِنَ الدَّهْرِ إِلَّا يَوْمٌ. Even if there was only one day left on the earth, لَبَعَثَ اللَّهُ رَجُلًا مِنْ أَهْلِ بَيْتِي. Allah would send a person from my household, يَمْلَأُهَا عَدَلًا كَمَا مُلِئَتْ جَوْرًا, who would fill the earth with justice when it was full of oppression. Right? This hadith teaches us something really, really powerful. Y'all with me, right? This hadith teaches us something really powerful. That the Mahdi will come and the entire world will be full of injustice, and he will bring justice to the world. Okay? This hadith teaches us that no matter how bad things get, you have two choices in life. Choice number one is to be pessimistic. What does that mean? Being pessimistic? What does that mean? Yeah.
Like basically optimistic. You're always mopey.
Yeah, you're always sad. It's everything's terrible, right? So here, the Prophet's teaching us the whole world will be engulfed in oppression. And Imam Mahdi, whoever this person is going to be born into that world. All he knows is people oppressing other people. All he knows is people being mean to others. All he knows is people's rights being taken away. But he will forge a new way forward. He'll be creative. He'll be optimistic, right? And he will bring the earth from darkness into light. From darkness into light. The lesson here is busy yourself with good, even if you're surrounded by negativity. Number three, the third hadith, the Prophet ﷺ says that Imam Mahdi will rule for 7 years. Now, the scholars of hadith say that this could either be 7 years literally, or the number 7 in the classical Arabic language meant a lot. Like for example, if I met Brother Mustafa after a long time, and I say, yo, where you been? Where you been? It's been a minute. What does that mean? What does that mean to you? Like I saw you a minute ago? Means a long time. So in English, a minute means, in y'all's language, a minute means a long time. So 7 years is alluding to the fact, possibly, that Imam Mahdi will come, and what he was going to do is going to take a long time. What this teaches us is, if you want to be successful, sometimes success comes right away, but most of the time, success comes after years of hard work. After years of hard work. So don't be scared of planning for the future. Right? Aim for the future. Plan for the future. Right? Sometimes you're not gonna reap the benefits of the effort that you made right away. It's gonna take a long time. Right? And finally, or the last two things I want to share with you is, there's a hadith that depicts a person coming to Imam Mahdi and asking him, could you give me something? I'm kind of struggling. Could you give me some money? And Imam Mahdi gives him. And he gives him some more. And he gives him some more. And one hadith says, he gives without even counting. He gives how? Without even counting. All right? What does this show? It shows that this particular leader is going to be resourceful. He'll have resources. So what are we doing as a community to become independent and free of need from others? This is especially those of y'all sitting in that section. Just literally yesterday, I got a call from a young adult. He was around 20-something years old, and he was like, I am so mad at my parents. They don't treat me like an adult. I'm 20 now, which means I'm an adult. And they baby me, and I can't do anything, and I can't go anywhere, and they don't trust me. And so I said, yeah, that is a problem. Your parents should trust you. They should give you some independence. But let me ask you a couple of questions. I asked him, do you have a job? He said, no. I said, do you have a part-time job? He said, no. I said, do you pay any of your bills? Cell phone? Do you pump your own gas? I said, no, my dad takes care of it. I said, do you live at home? I said, yeah. He said, what you're describing is a child. That's what you're describing. So you're acting like a child, and so how do you think your parents are treating you? Like a child, right? People will treat you how you behave. People will treat you how you behave. So when you get to that stage in life where you're older and you want your independence and you want to make your own decisions, what is the fastest way to get there? To show your parents, to illustrate to them that I am what? Responsible. If you want me to make my own decisions, then let me demonstrate to you how responsible I am. Because Imam Mahdi is not going to come and be like, well, I've got nothing to give you. I have no resources. I'm totally dependent on other people. No. He will be an independent source of wealth that he will give to others. He'll give to others. And the last hadith I'll share with y'all is the Prophet ﷺ says, Al-Mahdiyu minna Ahlul Bayt. The Mahdi will be from us, from the people of the household of Rasulullah sallallahu yuslihu Allahu fi laylatin. Allah will reform him overnight. During the course of one night, Allah will reform him. What does that mean? That means that no matter how bad you are, no matter how many sins you've committed, all it takes is one moment of turning back to Allah and saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Allah can guide even the most distant of people. Allah can turn hearts no matter how far away they are from Him. Right? So never ever lose hope in the mercy of Allah. Because of this particular Imam, who is predicted to unite the Ummah and bring the world into justice and fairness, was one day not reformed, and overnight something changed inside of him. That means something can change inside of you. You can become a better Muslim. You can decide one day to turn it around. You can decide to start praying on time and praying your 5 daily prayers and listening to your parents and reforming yourself. You can. It's possible. Right? And that leads me to my conclusion. And that is that regardless of what you feel about this topic of an imam coming at the end of time or not, whether he's a specific person or whether you don't agree with these weak hadith, everyone agrees, this authentic hadith, that every 100 years, somebody's gonna come. Whether you call him Mahdi or whoever, someone's gonna come and reform the ummah. The Prophet promised that at the end of the turn of every century, there's going to be somebody who's going to revive the ummah. Now I'll tell you all the story. The story comes from a real life, contemporary scholar. He's living now. Actually, he lives in Dallas. not too far from here. There's a very famous scholar. He has a huge following online. His name is Shaykh Yasir Qadi. Shaykh Yasir graduated from the faculty of Hadith. So when he was studying, they studied all of the various narrations. One of them was about this reformer that's going to come and revive the ummah. So his teacher asked the question to his class, who do you think the reformer is going to be? Who do you think is going to be? So everyone in the audience was like, oh, he's going to be Shaykh so-and-so. He's going to be Imam so-and-so. He's going to reform the ummah. So-and-so is going to do it. And they all had their answers. And what do you think the Shaykh said in response? Yes, ma'am. That's all good. Yeah.
I think he said I can do it.
Very good. My man, give me a high five. Excellent. Take one of these. All right. The Shaykh asked, who do you think the reformer is going to be? And everyone gave their answers. And then the Shaykh asked him, how come, y'all ready? How come none of you thought it could be you? How come none of you thought that? Of course, there's only going to be one. Yarhamukallah. There's only going to be one. But why can't it be you? Why aren't your goals lofty and inspirational and aspirational? If the Prophet ﷺ promised at the turn of every century, there's going to be somebody that's going to revive the ummah, why did all of a sudden your mind go to some other person? Why couldn't you think and say, maybe inshallah, Allah blesses me with that honor. I could be the person. Now, not everyone here is going to reform the entire ummah. But could you reform your community? Could you reform your neighborhood? Could you reform yourself? Could you be a better person and reform yourself? You could. You could. Right? And so, this question, why can't it be me? The point of this talk was not to talk about the end of days and talk about every single hadith about Imam Mahdi and who is he and where is he going to come from and what sort of battles is he going to fight. It's just to simply say that there are a hadith talking about a leader who's going to come and reform the ummah. When we hear hadiths like this, where does our mind go? Do we think to ourselves that I should reform myself? Because that's where we need to start. That's where we need to start. Now, the last thing I'll share with you. The biggest excuse for young people when they hear things like this, because I'm sure many of you here who are sitting have heard even the Imam and other guests talk about, you should change yourself and you can be better and you can improve. Believe in yourself. You've heard things like this. You've heard things like this. The biggest obstacle to people, especially young people, to changing themselves is what? What do they think? I'm too what? I'm too young. Many of you got it. I'll change when I'm older. I'm too young. All right? The answer to this question, I'm too young. The biggest gap between revelation was between Isa alayhi salam and Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The world was plunged into darkness. And finally, after years of darkness, misguidance, the heavens opened up and revelation came down, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took average people and made them leaders of the society. You all have a series, right? Movers and Shakers of the Ummah, right? Where you talk about the biographies of important people of history. So these companions changed the world. When you think of Sahaba, this question is for you guys. When you all think of Sahaba, do you think of young people or old people? Most people think that they're old. This image of a Sahabi is like a man who has white hair, right, on a cane, and he's like reading Quran all day. That's what you think about. Now, let's take some of the most famous companions. Number one, Ali bin Abi Talib. You all have heard of Ali radiallahu anhu? How old was he when he accepted Islam? Anyone know? How old was Ali radiallahu anhu when he accepted Islam? Yes. Even younger. 13? Who said 13? Who said 13? You said 13? You're wrong. All right. Even younger. Even younger. So 15. Oh, hold on. 15 was wrong. 13 was wrong. All right. How many for? How many? That's too young. He was 10 years old. He was 10 years old. All right. Now, some other famous companions. Abdullah. Hold on. Abdullah ibn Umar. Now we got the police on the way. We got the police on the way.
The Shaykh has to finish, so now put your hands down and he says, okay, if you have any questions, here's your hand. Until then, keep your hands down and spread out and listen, inshallah.
Next, Abdullah ibn Umar and Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah. They were both 13 years old when they accepted Islam. Uqba ibn Amir, some of you may not have heard of him, famous companion. He was 14 years old. Jabir ibn Abdullah. There was a Zayd here, right? Where was Zayd? You're Zayd. You're not Zayd. Who was Zayd? Did he leave? There used to be a Zayd. Zayd ibn Haritha. They both were 15 years old when they accepted Islam. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Khabbab ibn Arat, Zubair ibn Awam. All three were 16 years old. Talha ibn Ubaidullah, Abdurrahman ibn Auf. They were 17 years old when they accepted Islam. Mu'adh, there's a Mu'adh here before, right? Mu'adh ibn Jabal, Mus'ab ibn Umair. They both were 18 years old when they accepted Islam. Abu Musa was 19 years old. Jafar ibn Abi Talib was 22. And the following list is for y'all. You guys may not think this is young, but trust me, it is. Uthman ibn Affan, Abu Ubaidah, Abu Huraira, and none other than Umar bin al-Khattab, radiallahu anhum. All of them were between the ages of 25 and 31 when they accepted Islam. And so we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He make every single person in here a reformer of their deen. Whether or not we can reform the world, whether or not we can reform the ummah, whether or not we can reform even our communities and societies and neighborhoods, everyone here can make an intention of reforming themselves. And everyone here can ask Allah that I may or may not be the actual Mahdi that's promised in hadith literature, but I can be someone who strives to be rightly guided. Because we will end this lecture the way that we began. Ultimately, Mahdi means what? It comes from 3 letters of the Arabic language. Ha, Dal, and Ya. Very good. And Ha, Dal, and Ya mean what? What does that root mean? Yes, you. Very good, very good. And so someone who is Mahdi is ultimately someone who is rightly guided. Jazakallahu khairan. Barakallahu feekum. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina wa nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. It's always a blessing and an honor and a pleasure to be here. May Allah guide your beautiful Imam and your parents and the entire community. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you.
جزاك الله خيرا. I apologize. I let the zoo out.
Assalamu alaikum, guys and girls. If you just wait around 2-3 minutes, donuts are about to arrive. So out of all of those donuts, about 20 are for me, the rest of them are for you. If you leave too fast, you will lose the donuts, so just wait a few